If you're thinking about getting into model railroading or you're already an addict, boy do we have a project for you. In this episode, we drop back and drop in a backdrop the regular guy way, starting right now. Hey, welcome to It's My Railroad, the how-to show for regular people. This show is about model railroading the regular guy kind of way. We have a ton of fun on this channel, learning a bunch, and our subscribers are sharing so much great information down there in the comments. So if you're new here, you might want to consider subscribing and then push that little bell icon so you can catch future videos. Okay, rail fans, let's get into this. As the final step in completing the logging camp, I decided to take some advice from our subscribers and go through and replace the cheesy blue backdrop that we've been dealing with now for every single episode since I introduced you guys to the Brownsmith Railroad. So what I'd like to do today is get right on doing that. But I've got a lot more to say about it once we get into the hobby room. So why don't we just go in there right now? Hey, welcome back to the hobby room, to the Brownsmith Railroad, and to a new mini project we're gonna get started on right now. As you guys know, the last couple of weeks we've been staring at this ridiculous painted paper backdrop I've had for a couple of years now, actually, and it's beat up. I got sculpt the mold on it, I got holes in it. It's time for something that looks a little bit better now that we're getting kind of close to finishing the top half of the layout. So what I'd like to do today is just spend a little time showing you at least how I do something like that. One of the things you may have heard me mention is that this whole layout, actually, I can move it about a half an inch, 3/4 inch around. I can't do anything too extreme because I don't want the, I don't know, it might fall off or something, but I can adjust it and move it around a little bit so I can make a gap, put a backdrop, and put it back. We're gonna try, see if that works anyway, but that's the overall plan for this. You have to forgive my lighting. I had to take down all the track lighting I use in here. I got the window blinds open because they're gonna be in the way when you see how I'm gonna install this. Okay, one of the other challenges that we have here is that we are gonna be moving here soon, I believe. And so my beautiful wife, Cindy, has established a new rule that says I don't get to drill holes in the wall anymore. What? I know, it sucks. But anyway, so I need to figure out a way to make this freestanding. Now that's not the end of the world because, as you know, the BSR sits on shelf brackets, all right? And there's a gap about that big behind it. So it's my intention to slide these panels down behind the layout and have them just rest on the shelf brackets. If I need to, I can get underneath, maybe put a screw or something to tighten it up to the back. My carpentry when I built this wasn't that great, so I don't even know if that's gonna work. But that's one of the things that we'll be dealing with as we move forward. So I already know I want these to be 2 feet tall. I measured it over on the other end from where they're gonna sit up to about in here somewhere so they don't hit these brackets when I'm putting them in. And now the real challenge is gonna be where I've got the mountains over here because there's not enough space in there to put them in. So what I have to do is go to the other side over there and set it down and then drag it over. So we're gonna see if we can get that done. But to maximize that and to sort of maximize what I can get out of a piece of wood, let's take a measurement real quick. And it's looking like if I had a, oh, there you are. It's looking like if I had a 5-foot piece that allows me to get it in there and slide it over enough where it will hang down just past the logging camp. So we can get that in one piece. Well, actually, if that one's gonna be 5 feet, I think I can fit a 3-foot piece in there. We'll just put it in and slide it over. All right, so I know most of you guys already know how to cut a piece of wood, right? But what I'm gonna do right now is take you out into the garage with me and show you kind of how I do it. Maybe there's something you can learn from it. Maybe there's something you'll be able to teach me. The challenge here is, A, my garage looks like a bomb went off in it. I don't know what yours looks like. B, it's really hot here in Southern California right now. In that garage, it's about 110 degrees. So that's gonna make it fun. But Mama won't let me cut wood in the hobby room. So let's go out there and get some wood cut. All right, so first thing we do, figure out where 2 feet is. Should be easy enough, should be right about in the middle, I would say. Make a mark. This is what I'll use for a straight edge, this sort of 3-foot level here. So I'll make sure my marks don't pass by there. All right, got all the marks in. And now let's get the straight edge over here. And I'm 6'3" and I'm leaning over this thing, so I'm sure there's other ways to do this where you don't have to be like that. But all right, there's that one. I've got some wood pieces in here running lengthwise here that lift this board up off the sawhorses, so that first of all, it flattens it out. This stuff's pretty flimsy. Second of all, if I adjust the blade depth on my saw, I should be able to cut right through there without cutting through my sawhorses. Even though they're plastic Lowe's cheap ones, they're all I've got, so let's not screw it up if we don't have to. All right, everyone, this is gonna get a little loud. All right, now we'll see if we can get ourselves one that's 3 feet by 5 feet. Going out to 3 feet and marking it. That moisture you see down here, yeah, that's sweat. It's like 100 degrees plus in my garage. Actually, it says it's 110. It's 110 degrees out here, people. All right, we've got a piece 3 feet by 5 feet. Let's go see how these fit on the layout. All right, well, the first piece that we cut, let's see how this thing goes in, shall we? Again, I'm gonna go way over here on this side of the layout. Slide it down in behind there. Like that, and then just slide it on over. That doesn't look too bad. Let's put the little piece in. All right, the little piece gets the same treatment. Put it over here behind switch junction. And slide it back. Making sure we don't kill the coal mine, huh? And I don't know. Something like that. I think that looks I think it looks pretty good. So I guess what we need to do now, I think I'll go ahead and make the piece that goes over here. Let's take a measurement and then go out and cut that. All right, so I think we'll go ahead and get this one to be right to the edge of that mountain. And it looks like that's exactly 4 feet 2 inches, 50 inches. So I'm gonna go out to the garage right now and cut another one. All right, so now we'll get ourselves one that's 4'2". All right, that was quick, wasn't it? Anyway, back in the hobby room with the piece we just cut. And the same thing should happen here. It should just go in and there we go. And slide it over. Well, I think that looks That looks pretty good too. Hey, even without paint, it's like nighttime over here at the BSR. Anyway, I think I'll go through and do the same thing. Cut the other two pieces, I'll put them in, and then we're going to come back and take a look at that. Well, this is kind of how it looks now with the hardboard backdrop up. You can see just having that sharp edge up there and how tall it is. In my opinion, this already looks a ton better than that blue thing I had up there before. All right, if you'll forgive the handheld camera for just a second, these seams over here aren't exactly tight, and it's not exactly tight in the corners either. But I have what I think is a solution for that we're going to give a shot and put this back in just before we paint it. So I'm going to take all this down, take it in the garage, and then we're going to see about this interlocking kind of thing that I think I've come up with that might work. Okay, it's really hot out here right now. I cut out these 2" by 4" pieces of hardboard, and I intend to use them in kind of this configuration. But so one of them's connected to one piece of wood, the other two are the other piece, so that they will sort of lock together like that. Let me show you what I mean by that. All right, so I've determined that this edge here is going to be the top, and it looks like my saw cutting's not the greatest in the world. Down there at the bottom, it's like we need to trim some of it off. But I think I can compensate for that. Once we get it on the layout, I can just jam it up and put a screw in it to hold it up or something. Anyway, so here's what I think we'll do. We'll put like this, this, and this. We don't need to go down all the way. I'll glue these two, this one and this one, to this piece of wood, and that one to this piece of wood. That should have the effect when I go to slide these things together that it will keep that front edge on the other side nice and plumb. At least it'll be closer than just hanging off in the air. So I'm gonna get the glue gun real quick and just glue that stuff down. All right, so we have been able to survive the 98-degree temperatures in my garage, but now we're going to get down to some painting of these things. And what I'm going to use first, I'm going to put on this white primer. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm putting paint on a surface that's dark, if I don't put a white primer on, actual primer first, it just doesn't have the same brightness. Sometimes you can even see through it. So I decided to take the extra step and put on this primer right here. And then as soon as that's finished and dried, we are going to put on this Valspar sky colored paint. I picked it off a card. I hope it looks skyish once we put it on there. But anyway, we're going to get done with that right now, let everything dry up, and then put this thing on the layout, see how it turned out. Actually, there's just one more step I should probably take before I do this. And that is to grab my sanding sponge here and just sort of gently sand along the areas where I cut, because it's a little boogered up. And this is a really fine sanding block I have here. So we'll just go along there and just make sure that's smooth. Okay, it's dark and the sun has gone down here over at the Brownsmith Railroad, so with your permission, I'm going to leave the garage door open so I don't die in here. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the primer, and that is get some paint on a roller and just start rolling. And I can already tell you, putting that primer coat on first was the way to go. This is looking incredible. All right, well, we got a bunch of sky blue panels painted. Just need to let them dry, and we are gonna put those suckers on the layout. All right, it's the next day, and everything seems to have had a chance to dry up, and man, the color looks really awesome. I can't wait to see this on the layout. Hey, I got the garage door open right now, so we can actually get some better light in here so you guys can kind of see what it looks like just lying on the ground. And I think it's time to pick all of this up, head into the hobby room, and install it. Let's go. All right, well, back in the hobby room, time to put this in. We'll see how this goes. I'll just start grabbing the pieces and putting them in. We'll start over here, drop it in, slide it over to the logging camp. I don't know if you can see that, but already that is way better than what was there before. Let's see what happens if we put the little one in on the other side. Well, that don't look so bad neither. We're getting somewhere, people. I'm gonna just continue onto that same side. And now we'll put in the one on the end. Whew. Okay, that was a little more work than I anticipated, but it looks pretty good so far. I still got to do something with the seams, which I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But overall, I really like the color, really like the way it rounds out the model. So here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and put the lights back in, get the model set back up for the stuff I took down, and then let's just take a quick tour, and then we'll head back into the studio. Well, for better or for worse, there is our new backdrop installed. You know, a night and day difference compared to what used to be there. Clearly, what I'm not happy with, though, is these seams are not as invisible as I'd hoped. I think I was being a little naive in that regard. But what we'll do is, in a future episode somewhere, we'll camouflage those seams with something. I don't know. If you guys have any ideas on that, just let me know. But other than that, that is the way that looks. And we're back in the studio, and there you go. Finally replaced that backdrop. I gotta tell you, it changes the whole landscape of the railroad, no pun intended. But when you walk into the hobby room now, you're just greeted with this beautiful backdrop and the scenery up against it. There's a lot more to do with painting in and putting some mountains and stuff on there, but for now, I think that'll be great. And that concludes Season 1 of It's My Railroad. Now, don't be sad. We're going to take about a week off, and we're going to come back on August 28th with a very special Sidetracked episode that you're not going to want to miss. So again, if you haven't subscribed, you better do it now, and then like and share this video with somebody. Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram and Facebook. And until next time, my name is Steve Brown. Rail on, my friends.